Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real, metaphysical, and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. And this week, we're going to have a little fun. I haven't had a video that I had requested a lot, and I do mean a lot. The reason I put it off so long is, by and large, the question at hand doesn't really deal too much with magical and occult information in my mind. But it being such a popular topic, I did want to go ahead and actually try to get this covered. And I decided to make it a little bit magical and occult at the same time. So the question at hand is actually how I would go about making my coffee. And I didn't know it'd be that big of a question. Now, I'll be honest. Most of the time, I use a drip coffee maker. Pretty standard. Nothing fancy about it. Glass carafe, drip coffee maker. I put it in the thermos to keep it warm. You've seen it here on the channel. That's it. However, I also love these. These right here, these French presses. These are amazing. These make great coffee. And if you don't drink as much coffee as me, which most people don't, this is the way to go. And today we're going to use this for our example. Okay. Also, for those of you who are wondering, this might be a great way for you to do coffee when the power's out, as long as you have a way to boil water. Now, you do need a way to boil water. Now, for me, when I'm using my French press, I actually use an electric kettle. And this has already been going. It just clicked off, so that's perfect. Take this out. Got your pieces on there. Now, this French press, it's an El Cheapo. I'm serious. I paid less than 20 bucks for this French press. So you don't need an expensive French press, okay? Seriously, when you're buying your French press, it is literally a glass container to hold grounds, water, and then this little plunger just goes down on it, okay? Don't spend too much on it. Now, my wife was kind enough one year to get me what she is a coffee scoop. Now, you don't need this either. This here is a pre-measured 2 tablespoon scoop. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's tablespoon. I get tablespoons and teaspoons mixed often. Yes, 2 tablespoons. Okay, so we have a pre-measured 2 tablespoons. Now, if you don't have something like this, you can easily just use a tablespoon. As simple as that. I do keep my coffee in a vacuum container. I'm a little fancy like that. We got a bunch. I got like 4 of these in the kitchen that I keep my coffee in just to keep it fresh, because we do buy in bulk. Don't have to. I would say don't put it in the freezer. My dad used to do that, and it made it stale as hell. So don't do that, okay? So when I say 2 tablespoons, I actually will get in there and I'll level it off. See how I'm leveling that off? I'm just kind of shaking it off in there. That's all I mean. Now, this ain't the same as a full coffee pot, by no means. If I'm making a full 12-cup drip pot, I use 4 of these. And it does a good job. However, when I'm making a French press, I like it a little stronger. You could go with 2 of these. I know a lot of people use 2 of these and they're fine and dandy. I actually like to go ahead and use 3 in my French press. French press, it's a fancier coffee for me. Like I said, I use the drip, so I will give it that 3, and I still get a great cup of coffee out of it. And once I have it in here, and this is what I do. There's a lot of coffee aficionados who are going to claim I do things all this wrong. That's fine. You ask how I make mine. That's what I'm telling you. Now, once your water is boiling in your kettle, which I've been talking, so I'm going to go ahead and let it get a little bit of a warm up on it there. There we go. Okay, it's boiling. So just pour it straight in, right on top of your grounds. Now, I'm a big believer in water on grounds, not grounds on water. So grounds in the container first, okay? And pour over. This lets you get a nice little mix going as you're doing it. And normally, I have a spoon that I would stir with specifically. We don't appear to have brought a spoon into the office here with me. Ain't that wonderful? That's okay. All right, plan B. I'll use the handle of this. Give it a stir. As it starts to bloom or get soaked, just give it a little stir. That'll help make sure the water is good and distributed through the grounds. Then put your spoon in the sink, or in this case, wipe it off because, yeah, we had the jury rig at the option. That's okay. Jury rigging is perfectly acceptable. Then, while that's sitting there, you take your little lid. Don't push down on it. Don't push down on it. Let it sit just like that. See that? We ain't plunged nothing. Let it sit like that for about 5 minutes. But while that's awaiting, while we're letting it sit and wait, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the magical properties of coffee. I know I did a video where I covered some of this before, but we're going to talk about it here too. Just for those who might not have seen that video and are watching this one. So, some of the wonderful properties in coffee are it provides a peace of mind and grounding. Honestly, that's one of my favorite things about coffee. There's a certain calming peace of mind that comes to being able to sip on a good cup of coffee. Now, that may seem weird this day and age in high caffeinated, high octane discussions of coffee, but at the same time, its earthiness does have a natural grounding ability too. There's just something about coffee after a long stretch of ritual working that it really helps to ground your energy. It helps to center you. It helps to bring a peace to your mind, helps you relax, can help you de-stress. And if you're not sensitive to caffeine, the caffeine itself also kind of pulls you out of that grogginess. Now, if you're someone who's overly sensitive to caffeine, you might want to look someplace else, perhaps teas or something. But if you're not overly sensitive to caffeine or caffeine doesn't really affect you much at all, it's a great way to go. Another thing coffee has been known for is it helps to dispel nightmares, negative thoughts, overcome blockages. Some people even say unhealthy emotions. I could see that. I mean, it does kind of give you that peaceful feeling. I don't know if it necessarily does negative emotions. I don't think I've ever really tried it in those manners. And dispelling nightmares, I have had people tell me that it does really great in sachets and stuff for dispelling nightmares. As far as drinking it to dispel nightmares, I've heard mixed reviews. And I think it's how you apply it. I really do. Because in the case where they drink it before bed, they don't have nightmares, but they also don't sleep. That kind of makes sense. Most people, coffee keeps them awake. I can drink coffee before bed. It doesn't really affect me, but I'm not that. There are coffee drinkers like me out there. I don't think we're the majority though. So if you're doing it like that, you could possibly be, yeah, that might not be the best way. If you want to try and imbibe it to get rid of nightmares, you need to prepare it focused on getting rid of nightmares and de-stressing and helping with emotions, and then drink it either as your morning coffee or around lunchtime so that by bedtime it's had time to take its effect and everything, but the caffeine's not keeping you awake. You see what I'm saying there? So be aware of that if you're going to use that. Now, coffee being a stimulant because of its caffeine, it can add a little extra oomph to your magic, which we have discussed in a few spells and charms. So if you want to help it speed up things, you can do that. Now, one of the things I actually do like to use coffee for is I'm working on getting in shape, working on getting a little weight off just for health reasons, and utilizing coffee to help speed up those processes is something I do. I've also started to use unsweetened teas in a similar manner, which I'm actually really kind of liking. So there is that. Oh, it's also a very, very powerful curse breaker. Now, this one I do like, I do love. Coffee is very well known for its ability to break curses. Now, if you're wanting a beverage or something that you can imbibe to help yourself or a client break a curse or undo a curse or unravel a curse, as we all know, curses come in different complexities and everything, but from simple to, I'd say, medium, coffee will knock that out really quick as long as you prepare it with that intent. Remember, you got to prepare it with the intent, or prepare it and then charge it with the intent. But that does work for both hot and cold coffees. So there you go. And of course, its grounds have been used in divinations, just like tea leaves. And that's another one reason I actually wanted to choose the French press here, because this will give you two different forms of divinations that you can do. You will have the coffee grounds that are in the French press that you can swirl or pour into a container and read. And made like this, there's a residue that's going to sit in the bottom of a cup that you can also read and divine from that residue once you finish your coffee. Now, of course, if you're going to read that, this cup ain't going to work. This is a black coffee cup, okay? This is straight from my kitchen. I love these coffee cups, actually, but you're not going to be able to read much in this sucker because it's black in there. See? Like if I turn the light just freaking right, yeah, I can see it. But it's not easy to read by any means. Get a coffee cup that's white on the inside or even red, something that's going to be starkly contrasted to the residue that the coffee would leave. Okay? All right. And then read that. Now, if you guys want a video on how that works, we may look into that in the future. It's a little more than I can go to here at this time. Of course, we've discussed before on this channel, coffee is an amazing offering to deities. At this point in time, I can't think of a deity that doesn't like it as an offering, which is pretty cool because I always have plenty of it in the house. Like I said, I got 4 of these freaking containers over here. I might have a problem. Nah, it's not a problem. It's a hobby and I enjoy it. See, I got some notes here. I'm trying to follow what this does this. The last note on here, which it can help to boost charisma and your persuasion abilities when discussing, negotiating, or conversing with others. I've not personally ever tried it or used it for this, but a few individuals that I've spoken with said it works really, really good. And there could be something to that, because I'll be honest, most of the people I grew up around, pretty charismatic people, even the ones that I would consider jerks and assholes. They could really sweet talk a person when they wanted to. And frankly, every one of them was a coffee drinker. Could that just be a coincidence? It could. It actually could be a coincidence just because I grew up in a Southern coffee culture. By and large, they drank they drank 2 main non-alcoholic beverages. They drank coffee and they drank tea. That's what they drank. They drank coffee and Southern iced tea, sweetened or unsweetened, but that's what they drank. That's about all they drank. So it could just be coincidence in that the 2 things are there, because by and large, I've noticed that most Southerners, when they want to, they can be polite, they can be charming, and there is a certain charismatic that goes with these people. Even the ones that are jerks most of the time. When they want to, they can actually let those manners that they were taught shine, for better or worse. So I can see it, but at the same time, I can't necessarily say it's going to work, because it could also be just kind of a coincidental thing. But I will say, at least the magicians who purposely said they've used it in this way, they said they got good results. That much I can say. And at least 2 of the 4 I spoke to were not Southerners. So, hey, that also helps. Now, there's just some quick magical notes on coffee. Let's get back to our French press here, shall we? All right. Now, once you get your French press done, what you want to do, and let's see if I can get this on camera while I do it. Yeah. So you want to push this down, and you want to push it down slow. Don't try to push it fast. Don't try to force it. Just nice and slow. Because essentially you are actually creating an emulsion. So you want it to have that time to churn it. And then once it's down there, most French presses have a screened section and a closed section on the lid. So you want to make sure your screen section is facing out. And I know that sounds obvious, but I'll be honest, there's times I've made coffee in one of these and I didn't do it. And I was like, why ain't it pouring? What's wrong? And then I was like, oh, wait, I'm an idiot. That's what's wrong. And there you go. And then you just pour it into your cup. just like that. Hot but delicious. So there we go. That right there would be how I would make a simple French press coffee. Now, if I'm doing this in a 12 pot or a 12 cup pot drip, I use the same process. I use my same little scoop my wife got me, unless I can't find it. During the move, I couldn't find it. So I used a normal tablespoon from the drawer. And I would use the same coffee. And for the tablespoons, I might get a little more zealous. But with this, I would level it off, and it's 4 of these into the filter. I personally do use one of the reusable gold metal filter things. I'm not too good for paper actually, so I always keep paper with me when I travel just to make sure I got them. But I use 4 of these leveled, which would essentially be 2, 4, 6, 8 tablespoons of coffee. Sounds like a lot when you say it that way. Because this is supposed to be 2 tablespoons, so I'd use 8 tablespoons of coffee in the filter. And I do set it for strong. I do like my coffee on the strong set. That is the one fancy feature I make sure my drip maker has, is it has a strong setting. And then I let that sucker brew. That's all I do. And that is how I enjoy my morning coffee. Now, the French press, why I have it, 2 reasons. First off, there will come a point in the day where I know I do not need a full pot of coffee. I ain't going to be drinking that much coffee before bed, blah, 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 whatever. And this makes a small amount of coffee for me to drink. Like right now, we're getting up in the afternoon. I'm probably going to switch over to iced tea as me and the wife wind down for the evening. So this is actually a perfect time for me to make this right here. And when she gets home, she can even have her a little sip of it, no big deal. Or we're also prone to power outages here a lot. But we do have gas stove, so I can easily utilize that gas stove to boil the water and make a French press cup of coffee if I so choose. However, truth be told, these days during a power outage, I don't go for the French press. I do something else, which is what we're going to cover in another video. Many of you want to know how I make coffee by the campfire. We are going to do this 2 ways. I'm going to show you how I would do it at the house to show you the process nice and easy. And then if I'm able to get the camera set up next time I go camping, we're also going to do it right there and then while we're out camping and having a discussion too. So we'll get 2 of those, how I actually utilize that. All right. I hope this answers your questions. I'm actually feeling a little silly because I didn't think that many people cared about how I make coffee. But hey, you ask, I share. That's what we do on this channel, right? And it gave us a chance to cover some of these correspondences again. And give me a reason to make a cup of coffee this evening. So hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Keep on doing what you're doing. Keep progressing on your path. Remember, we all have trip-ups. We all make mistakes. We all slow down. Just relax, de-stress, learn from the mistakes, continue to move forward. And I promise you, you will see results in your life and in your path, whatever that may be. Don't give up. I'm pulling for you. All right. I'm Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic. Take care. Goodbye.